And we're here having the privilege of talking with Mary Fenske, who is our missionary that we are involved with in Ecuador. And Mary, it's good to be able to sit here and talk with you on one of your quick trips back from Ecuador.
It's good to be here.
What I'd like to do is just to have this opportunity to just get a little feel for, what your call and what you're doing, and help our people get a better feel for just what's in your heart. I'm always love to ask missionaries kind of what got you to be a missionary. How did that start in your life?
I was 3 years old when the Lord first planted the seeds of missions work in my heart. I wanted to be a missionary's wife. I had no idea what was a missionary, but I told my mom I want to be a missionary's wife. We were not Christians at the time.
Oh wow, that's
Through the years, I did come to Christ. I was filled with the Holy Spirit. And I had always had an interest in missions. I always wanted to go just once to see what it was like. Finally, when I was 25, I was able to go on my very first mission trip. I went to South Africa, and we stayed in tents. We walked 19 miles at night through the jungle, and I loved it.
Oh, no. Okay, now that's being missionary. What an introduction.
It was great. I was so excited the whole trip. And ever since then, it was, this is what I need to do. This is who I am.
Then how did you end up in Ecuador?
I went to Ecuador for the first time. It had been a while since I had been out on the field, since I had had my short-term assignments. And while I was in Ecuador, I fell in love with the kids. And the Lord began speaking to my heart that it was time to return to the field for full-time.
But what is the passion of a missionary's heart? Who do you feel called to? And I know that you have a love for kids.
Yes. My desire is to reach the children and to help those that reach the children. I am not bilingual. I don't speak the language very well. And there's an old saying that says, if those who can't teach. So since I can't do it very well, I'm teaching those that can.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So right now I am involved with children, and I go to the schools, and I love it because I am not the teacher, but I am able to go and help them with English classes.
Now, I know from our 101 teams that we have sent that you also are very helpful to missionary teams that come down there, or missions teams.
It's always good to help others that come down. That's how I got my start. And I think perhaps maybe one of these people is called to be a missionary. Maybe one of these people will be here as a missionary someday soon. I want to make this trip an experience, not just a trip, but an experience.
Well, we can vouch for that because our teams, with your help, have really been very good experiences for everybody that went. Well, tell us then, how can Grace Chapel and the people here pray for you? What are your biggest requests that you have for people to pray and support you in?
Like I mentioned before, I am not bilingual. I will be taking a Spanish course, an intensive Spanish course, and I know that will help. But I know I need the help of God much more. So I know that I can get by and I can have conversation, but for ministry I need something more. Yeah. In my mind, the Holy Spirit is leading me and I want to say things, and it's like, how do I say that in Spanish? Yeah. And I don't want to have that interruption in my mind as I'm ministering.
You want to be able to think in it. A little bit, I want to talk a little bit about this because I want people to understand. Because you're an associate missionary, you raise all of your support, and that includes not only your personal living budget, such as housing and food, but anything that you do in ministry, you have to raise that budget.
Everything. It includes my living expenses, any kind of medical expense I may have, any kind of emergency, either personal or ministry. I have to have the funding for that. Yeah. Everything comes from my budget. So the more budget I have, the more ministry I'm able to do.
Right. And I think that's important, that as we share with people the burden and the passion you have, and as God calls people to partner with you, that they understand that it's not just your living. because there's all the operational costs that go with it, and Foursquare Missions does not cover that.
No.
That comes out of whatever you raise. Well, thank you for talking to us.
Oh, thank you.
We at Grace Chapel have been just blessed to work with you and to sort of adopted you into our missions passion as well, because we share our love for Ecuador and South America.
Thank you very much.